And we're live. We're live. Jeph?
Oh, hi, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Glad you could join me.
When I picked up the phone before, we're just about to start this episode, and we get a call from, hey, I want to talk about PR1. Can you tell me all about it? What were your thoughts do I even sound like myself when I'm talking to clients or potential clients?
Yeah, you don't have a change in inflection. Your voice is exactly the same.
How about my demeanor?
Oh, no, yeah, a complete 180. You're very helpful.
I try to be helpful. So we're just gonna, what the hell? There we go. Okay. So just change the title.
All right. Are we up?
I think we're up. Yeah. I'm just kind of like letting things build, let people see that we're live. Not that it matters. We'll be able to post this later on YouTube. The biggest thing I've noticed about us transitioning to live is that our introductions are completely different as we just kind of sit here and allow people to start jumping on the stream. We don't have the same welcome to Max Ordinate, right?
I mean, yeah, because we're kind of already here.
We are already here. And so this episode, whether you're watching it live or you're going to pick it up later on YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, the title of the episode is Common Sense Really Common? And this all started, Jeph, right? You asked me as soon as we got on the hook today, what are we talking about? And I'm like, well, there's just been so many recent events happening where I'm like, isn't this fucking common sense?
Yeah, but you also said the title, and I immediately took offense and assumed you were talking about me.
You thought it was about you.
Instantly started defending myself.
Not everything's about you, bro. Okay.
I mean, it is, but continue.
And so that's the question. So before we move on to any of this shit, I want to hear from you. Is common sense common? Or is that just a phrase that we toss out, but in reality, it's like, no, it's not true.
I mean, I would say it. Okay. Generationally, there's a gap in common sense.
Yeah.
And when you see someone that doesn't have common sense, that's who gets noticed. I would say for the most part, most people have common sense.
Yeah.
But it's the ones it's the outliers that we notice. And then there's a whole generation that has none. So
true. I would agree. What, just for reference, as we get farther into this, what generation does Diaz fall into?
I think, I believe he's a millennial.
Generation that has no common sense?
No, I think he's a millennial. I give a lot of, I'm not sure what the word is, but a lot of grace to millennials. They sort of had they were dealt a bad hand, raised by idiots like me. Gen Z has no common sense.
I feel like that. I mean, we're in a position right now where I feel like the goalpost has kind of kept changing, because at one point I was referred to as Gen X, and then they changed it, and they're like, okay, from this date forward, you're a millennial. Now you're older than me, but you're not old enough to be my parent.
No, there's that gap. So there's Gen X, and there's millennial, and then there's I don't want to say if it's Zennial or something in between, but there's like a 4-year where they sort of overlap them.
Oh, is there? I didn't know that, because
in Gen X,
they changed the date, and it's like 1982 or 1980 now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, my mindset is nothing of the millennials that were born in the 90s.
Yeah, like Helbert. Helbert's clearly a millennial.
Yes. So is Diaz. Diaz is what, 32 years old?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. When I picture millennials, I think that you if you don't remember the 90s, you're a millennial.
Fair.
I remember the 90s. I remember everything about the 90s, like Milli Vanilli, all that shit. And so anyways, I don't agree with their timelines. I think it's bullshit, but moving on.
Yeah, but okay, so generationally for common sense, I mean, if you think about how when we looked at millennials, how they were just the absolute worst, right? We couldn't we couldn't believe how they turned out.
Yeah.
Having said that, if you look at the way so our parents raised us and the whole millennial parental group went, well, we're not going to raise our kids that way. And they
Yeah.
sort of babied them through the first 20 years of their life. And that's kind of, that's what you get. Not, and that's that's a generality, but that's
That's
kind of,
exactly why I'm saying I'm not a millennial. I got zero babying. It was from like 4 years old. You're on your own, fucker. Like,
yeah.
okay. So the episode moving forward, common sense. We're gonna get into all that, but dude, it's been a crazy 2025. Like in the previous episode, we talked about the changes in the company. We changed the company structure. It's now a corporation. We have more owners,
Mm-hmm.
right? Responsible owners, which I say loosely because it's not that they're not responsible. We're just dealing with new growing pains and understanding what ownership is. That's when I sit back and think about it, right? And like every team, and I consider all of us, the small group that owns this company, I consider us a team. Every team is kind of like a brotherhood or siblings, and you're going to have those times where you're just like, what the fuck? And
of course,
some of it comes down to just lack of experience in this area. And I remember 2013, I got out of the Marines and I was like, I'm gonna start a business. I had no idea what I was getting into or even how to do it. So I had to go through this and learn. And it was hard fucking lessons, dude. Like hard lessons. Like first time I got audited by the IRS, I'm like, why are you auditing me? Where's your mileage log? I'm like, what's a mileage log? What? So I kind of laughed a little bit when we were going through all of this, and I sent a text over the chat. I'm like, yo, it's official, new business, ready, it's going. We just got our EIN. You remember when Diaz chimed in and said, what's that?
Look at an EIN.
And so, dude, it's been a hell of a January because we all have these goals, and it's been a little hectic as we try and organize everything and like, okay, what do we need to do now? And things are starting to kind of like flatten out and become a little easier. And we each have our own jobs, and it's just been an adventure. And so we haven't done an episode for a month. They did one episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was good. Did you watch it?
I did.
Did you watch the shooter's brief?
I watched the whole thing.
I did too. And I thought it was good. I thought their dynamic was good. I thought just the way that they interact with each other. I'm like,
oh, it's a much better podcast than this one. I would watch theirs all day.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think they enjoy staring at each other where I can't wait for you to get off of the screen.
I mean,
So SHOT Show. I went to SHOT Show. I not just went for Max Ordinate, but I also went for the company that contracts me for the military contract. And everybody's asking me the same thing, like, how was it? I'm like, man, fucking SHOT Show is the same as the previous 12 SHOT Shows that I've been to. I'm just not impressed anymore. And like companies are starting to not show up. You know that? Like SIG used to have this giant booth. And now they've shrank their booth down to like a 10-foot space down in the basement. And they're like, we don't fucking care about SHOT Show.
Yeah. And how much of that is budget? How much of that is economics? I mean, what I said before you guys went, which was really like, I don't know how many times I've been to SHOT Show. I haven't been in the last few years, but I always enjoy it. just like I always enjoy SEMA, right? Two of the biggest shows in Vegas. But it's very like, to be contrarian and to not like them is always kind of the big thing. Like, I think they're cool and I think they're fun.
But why are they fun? Why are you having a good time?
Because I like guns and I like cool shit. Like, that's it, right? It's not about going there to drum up business. I've always said it doesn't matter if you're there, but sometimes it matters if you're not there. So it doesn't matter that SIG has a big booth. They can have a small one, but it'll matter if they just don't show up at all.
Vortex didn't go at all.
Yeah, they're out of business.
And so it brings me to my point, dude. Like, when you think, like, we've got some opportunities coming up that are going to change things for us. And they're going to add more responsibilities to me, to us, as we partner with some of these people and take some of the responsibilities from them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so people will talk to me about SHOT Show, and they're like, man, we got to do this. I want to be at SHOT Show 2026 with our own booth. And I'm like, why? I know how your business is set up. SHOT Show is a vendor show.
Mm-hmm.
It was set up and designed so that people who own gun stores or have a license to sell shit will go there and order products from you for the year. And it has turned into this kind of like this media frenzy, especially like 2000, into the 2010s. Social media is just becoming more prevalent. And so like SHOT Show is the place to go.
Yeah, of course. And it used to be a place where, again, not to reference SEMA again, but it used to be a place where that's where you release something new, right?
Yes.
But think about it. If I had a product that I could hype up and then release at SHOT Show, okay, that's cool. But do I see any benefit of just hyping it up and then releasing it on social media or traditional media now? No, there's no difference.
No, there's not any difference. And if let's say it cost you total $30,000 to go to SHOT Show with your booth, shipping, with everything, the hotels, the fucking staffing, 30 grand. That's on the low side.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to release a new product at SHOT Show. Okay, cool. How many people are going to come by your booth at SHOT Show? How many people are at SHOT Show? There's 50,000 people. Okay. 50,000 people. Out of that 50,000, you're going to see 10%, maybe. So you got 5,000 people coming by your booth. All right, cool. With that $30,000, what could you do on social media and marketing, advertising, and putting together a no shit like campaign?
Mm-hmm.
How many more people would you reach with $30,000?
Yeah, and that's just indicative of where today's marketing is at, right?
100%. That's why I'm starting to believe that SHOT Show is kind of irrelevant. It's becoming irrelevant.
Again, I think there will always be a need to have something tactile to touch, feel. Always.
Maybe.
And I don't think they'll ever go away. Just like, again, magazines, as much as for the last 15 years, I've been told, and I was in the magazine business for a while, right? Another random career. I was an editor for a couple mags. Like, magazines are going to be going away. No one picks up a magazine anymore. No one reads these things.
I believe that. When's the last time you fucking read a magazine?
Yesterday.
What? That's because you're fucking old or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's always I don't, but somebody else does, or like nobody does, but this one exception does. The fact is they still exist.
They do.
And I feel like, again, it'll be a long time before that market is completely gone. So I really think that, it's going to be a long time before the actual trade show market goes away completely. There's still a need for human beings to want to touch something physical and put their eyes on it versus just look at it through a computer screen. And I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
And that is what drives these big shows.
I'm not against it. It's just, again, like, if I had to choose, I'd rather go to the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show or the NRA show. Not that I like those organizations better,
mm-hmm.
but at least I can go there and buy shit. I can walk away with things in my hand. Like, damn, I really like that. I will buy that right now. You take card? Sweet, let's do this. Like,
and I'm not saying that the people who will decide and make the business decisions or going to these shows to actually conduct business. What I'm saying is that there will always be consumers that show up to these vendor only shows.
yeah.
That will drive them. You know, the people making the decisions, they're just there to go. They're not doing business there.
Hey, we got a comment from Nick Helbert on YouTube. He says, common sense not so common these days. How dare you?
Yeah, well, I think the how dare you is the me calling him a millennial.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we did that. Okay. So back to SHOT Show. I didn't see anything that blew me away this year. There was no like crazy release. For me, SHOT Show is going and just seeing all the people that you don't get to see every day, right? Friendships, bonds, partnership stuff that you're working on. Like, to me, that's the stuff.
Yeah.
So have dinner with friends, like talk about how together or individually you are moving forward with 2025 and your goals and shit like that. And so I was getting pulled around a lot. People seeing me, hey, Tyler, how's it going? It's been so long, or, just random other stuff. So that was my enjoyment. Kestrel, I went over to them because there's something specific with Kestrel that I want, and it's a software issue. I don't want to talk too much about it, but it involves being able to calculate your trajectory to not hit obstacles in front of you. And they have a software for Kestrel that will do that. But some dumbass in the industry of sniping, who's not even a sniper, who's been training dudes for years and years and years on like obstacle clearance and loopholes, decided to tell everybody that this was a secret and it needs to be protected.
It's not a fucking secret.
And so this fucking dumbass has convinced people higher up that it needs to be ITAR. It needs to be regulated trade.
Why do people still continue to think that loophole training is some sort of fucking super soft tier 1 secret? It's just a math equation. It's not that even that hard.
It's not even math, dude. It's just, it is. At the heart of it, it's math.
Yeah, but it's not that hard.
It's not that hard, right? If you're smart, which apparently I'm smart because I have talked to numerous companies and walked them through how I use their specific technology to achieve that. And they're like, holy fuck. I'm like, yeah, it's not ITAR. There's nothing restrictive about it.
Someone who's never done a loophole equation, someone who maybe hasn't done a loophole equation in 10 years, they own Google. It exists.
So I went and had a conversation with Kestrel. I'm like, could you do this for me? And I walked him through it. And he's looking at me. He's like, dude, we will never have to fuck with ITAR again. The way that you just explained it, I don't know why we haven't thought of this. I'm like, I don't know, but maybe you should forget that we had this conversation, and I'm going to come back with an NDA and I want paid, right? But no, I just want them to update the software so that I can use it in that manner. And they're on board. So
I hope they do. I think it'd be cool. I haven't owned, I don't even use my Kestrel. I can't tell you, but like there's certain things, if they updated their software and did some stuff that, like if it was a one-stop shop, I'd probably start using it again.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, that they're willing to do some shit, I'd probably start using it. That's pretty, again, though, that goes back to seeing somebody face to face and having that conversation with them at a show and going, hey, this is what I want. Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to get those people on the phone sometimes.
It is. So that was a cool part of SHOT Show. Talked to Kestrel. They also told me about other updates. Like, so you got Kestrel with Bluetooth link and all that shit, but then you have the app. And so like you update your Kestrel through the app, and some of their updates is like you could program Like mine has got the old software, and so you can program 7 targets, and that's it. Well, now their updated software, you can program 10 targets in a sector, and you can have up to like 30 sectors or something crazy. And now you can share those with your friends. And so we can put together an entire sector A, here's 10 targets, sector B, here's 10 targets. And then I can send that to you. And now you have those same target distances.
So that would completely eliminate the use for a, like we could do the whole field course.
We could do the entire field course.
The entire field course. And when someone shows up, let's say everybody had a Kestrel, we could be like, here it is. Yes. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So you're able to share range cards that you built now, and you're not restricted to 10 targets. So I thought that was cool. I have not looked into the third thing that they told me. It sounded, I'm skeptical of how it would apply. So let me ask you this. There's a video here. Let's just play the video, and this is going to caveat.
I'm going to go 2.3 left
regarding Kestrel. Here we go.
I'm going to send it with love. And that's all she wrote, baby. That's all she wrote. 700 yards, first round impact, 12 mile-an-hour wind. Sure a mile?
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
I almost had you.
Winning's winning, dog.
The line, the follow-up line is supposed to be, you never had your car.
You had your car. So, little tidbit on that video. You and I went to the range. We had goals to accomplish while we were there. We had some downtime. We decided to do a 1-shot, 1-kill, 3-target competition, you versus me. And it was fun, dude.
It was an absolute slaughterhouse.
So I had fun.
You had fun.
I sent that video to a couple of my military dudes here, and they're like, do you just enjoy beating up on your friends? I was like, he asked for it.
It's so funny because it's just one of those days where it was just like, oh, this will be easy, no big deal. And then the moment you gave a win call, I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to turn my brain off. I just turned my brain off, and it just went fucking south.
Yeah.
I underread all the win.
That competition, we shot 300, 500, and 700. One shot. I let you go first. And if anybody's watched the video on your channel, if you go to Savage422 on YouTube, you can watch that entire competition. It's a really good watch, and it's not a long video. But what would you like if you just watch the video? Just watching it, you would say Tyler's hit percentage is 100%. Jeph didn't hit.
Oh, fuck all anything.
Anything, right? Do you think a program, AI, artificial intelligence, can predict your ability to hit a target? Do you need to know the person, or is it enough that AI says, oh, you're shooting 168 grain 308, Tyler. The probability that you hit 700 yards C-zone IPSC first round is 32%. It's only taking into account the atmospherics, the wind, and the projectile. It's not into account shooter.
First round impact, it would need a tremendous sample size.
Okay, well, Kestrel has released a program with AI built into it that will tell you your hit probability for every target distance.
Okay, well, what's their sample size?
It doesn't include the shooter. It just includes atmospherics and cartridge.
So I can't guarantee a lot of things, but I could guarantee that whatever number it gives me, I could disprove it.
I feel like would have told me
everyone.
I feel like with 168 grain 308 in what mile per hour wind we were shooting in, I was holding
Variable 12 to 25.
Yeah, we were shooting in 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have said, Tyler, your hit probability is 100%?
No, probably.
No, so we already disproved it, right? Now, I could see where there could be some benefits, because if you are dealing with, let's say, for sake of argument, Jeph, we're shooting at 700, and the target, when you look at it with a scope, it measures 0.5 mil wide.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the center of the target where you're aiming, you have 1/4 mil left and 1/4 mil right to still get a hit. If you're dealing with a 308, that's a 4-mile-an-hour gun. If the wind changes from 16 to 20, that is a 0.7 change in your wind call. That means you missed off the right or missed off the left. If the wind just changed by 4 miles an hour, if it changes by 2 miles an hour, you now have 0.35 mils change right to left. Right. And so I could see how it could be useful in that manner, where it's predicting that based off of the current wind and atmospherics, your hit probability is not very good, because the wind is so switchy. It could be miss right, miss left, and you did nothing wrong other than the wind just beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, I'll be the first one to be like, I fucking lost, I missed, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't have enough ego to give a shit. Having said that, the reality is that's exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm shooting the 12-mile-an-hour wind and pull the trigger. It was 20 plus.
Yeah.
I wasn't calculating for that because I was not going to shoot gusts. So I could see where you got a variable 12 to 20. Your hit percentage is going to be 12%, because it's too big of a swing. You're going to have to time it, whatever. I could see that. It just, I think whatever percentage it gives you is just, I think there's just too many. And I think, you know, the inherent accuracy of the gun is a 1 minute gun, is a half-minute gun, like that all comes into account. Just taking caliber by itself and taking its external ballistics and the atmospherics and going, okay, based on wind shift, this is what it could be one way or the other.
Something crazy is happening with your audio right now.
Oh, fair.
Oh, now it's better. I don't know.
There we go.
Anyways, I heard what you said. It went really quiet on me for a little bit. So AI predicting hit probability, again, like, I'm just being devil's advocate right now. I haven't looked at it. So it could be awesome. I haven't processed of how it could be beneficial to.
So what's the use case?
I don't know yet. That's what I'm saying. It's like, what is a computer with AI telling me that my hit probability on this target is 50%? What does that do for me? Like,
it's not like I'm going to not shoot. Like, I don't think I'm going to make it. So
could you use this in a military or law enforcement capacity? Could it help a commander say, the risk is too great, I don't want you to take this shot, or you better get closer, because I'm not letting you take an 800-yard shot. Your hit probability is 12%. Not happening. I don't know. Is that maybe that's the use for it? I don't know. We got to look into it. I'm just saying, like, this is something new that they released at Kestrel for SHOT Show.
Well, tell Kestrel, send me a Kestrel, and I'll go out and T&E it.
Well, I know where you can find one. It's on the side of the field course where Russ
lost
2 years ago. And then the other thing is, we haven't released a ton of information, but we did talk about LaserHit.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. A lot of videos about it. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're watching this, go to LaserHit. The system, right? It's you pay for the app daily or monthly, whatever. You buy the cartridge for $100. It's a laser, goes inside your rifle. It's fucking precise. Now, the closer you have to get to the paper target, the worse the accuracy is going to be, right? So at worst case scenario, the biggest distance you have for laser dry firing is 4 yards.
Is it down to 4?
Yeah, we have it down to 4 now.
Okay.
You can put the lens over your objective and parallax down to 4 yards. It's fucking great.
I think I was down to like 8 was my minimum.
Yes, and I specifically working with them, I said, look, you have 16 yards right now for people to purchase the lens cover for 16 yards. 16 yards is over 50 feet. There's not a lot of people that have 50 feet inside their fucking house or garage.
Yeah, me and you tried to do it, and we had to set it up inside the house. We were in the garage, and it was a whole fucking fiasco.
And so I'm like, your house is different. You guys have a fucking mini mansion in Las Vegas. The rest of us don't have this, okay? I'm in Japan. I don't have it. The houses are fucking a quarter the size of yours here. Not just that, but like our classroom in the Marines right now. The max distance from wall to wall is 17 yards. So like that's a big distance for average people.
Yeah, for sure.
8 is a lot better. You could do 8 in your garage, 24 feet. 4, again, that's even better, right? But what you have to realize is that the closer you get to the target, the worse the accuracy of the laser is going to be in terms of like the
100%.
computer picking up where the center of the laser is at. So at 4 yards, the laser is accurate to a 0.05 MOA. That's still pretty good, right?
Not bad.
At 8 yards, it's 0.02, and 16, it's 0.01 minutes of angle. It's fucking accurate. And so what you do is you choose a target that fits your needs, and we're developing new targets right now to upload to LaserHit so that you can use them. You have the target size will change. As it gets smaller, it's representing further distance. Your phone, your iPad, whatever you have that's looking at the target, based on the size, it's telling you how far that target is. And why this is all relevant is because there are no other dry fire systems out there that will force you to hold or dial for distance and correct wind.
Yep.
So in the top left corner, it says, hey, you got wind blowing left to right, full value at 13 miles an hour. You have to calculate that wind because your phone or your tablet that is looking for the laser is going to calculate, was that a hit or not? It's fucking rad. Now
can we talk about what else we're going to be uploading to their system?
Yeah, we could talk about it because it hasn't been released. It's still in development, but they have the My Academy. And right now we are working on different targets. So we have our sniper qualification face target is uploaded to that system, and the computer system recognizes the different zones. So if you hit in the center zone, you get 5 points. If you hit in the outer zone, you get 4. If you miss the outer zone, you get a 0. And so it's tabulating your score for you. It's allowing you to run through the different drills. We're also trying to set this up for other areas as well. Like, how cool would it be if every month we release a competition for you to just practice? You can execute this competition in your fucking garage, just following the guidebook and putting up the target and letting the iPad read the target. And then you go through and do the drill. And there's a timer. The iPad has a timer and it says, ready, go. And now you have 90 seconds to execute this competition.
It'd be really cool if you had the usernames and the leaderboard somewhere on there, right?
We're working on it. We're working on it, right? And so I think people will appreciate this because the developers of LaserHit, we had presented, like, could we have a leaderboard? Could we do this? Could we do that? They are very 100% dead set on, we do not want to have people's information. We want people to feel safe that they have shared 0 personal information with us. So they don't save any of your data. And so we're trying to figure out how to navigate the leaderboard without breaking their goal of we don't want people shit. They want you to be totally anonymous, and I respect that. So
yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely challenges figuring out how to do different things. Another thing that we're trying to implement is like right now, if you're shooting a course of fire that is 120 seconds and 10 shots, the wind for all 10 shots is the same as the first. It doesn't change. So we're updating the system right now so that every time you take a shot, the wind is changing. It's variable. And so now every shot you take, every target you shoot at has got a different wind. And so it's forcing you making more wind calls every single time. You can't just shoot target, 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 and utilize the same wind speed anymore. Nope, sorry. I did not like that. And that was one of the first things I wanted to change was we need more wind practice. And so you'll have a little tab, variable winds, and now really gets fun. So
and your Marines have been using it and enjoying it.
Dude, it took a few weeks because I brought the system here to Japan. I said, hey, I got this system for you guys. We can practice. It's
a video game.
Yeah. So like they finally used it, and now I can't get them to stop fucking using it. They're always like, Tyler, can I get your iPad? Can I get the laser? I'm like, can you guys just buy your own shit? I'm like, fuck. Last week I pulled the rifle out of the armory, and I went through a little training session and recorded some videos of just shooting 8 yards, and like holdovers, wind calls, like shooting from a tripod. It is such a in-depth way of getting better dry fire practice that isn't fucking boring. That's the problem, is dry fire is boring. And if you don't have anything giving you feedback, of course you hit every fucking shot, right? Of course you did.
Yep.
And so, dude, the LaserHit system, I can't wait to get all the releases out, to get all the shit going, and just continue to push and push and push and push this because we have a huge part in it, and it's going to be a huge part of us. So I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I can't predict the future on how we implement this into training, but I think there's a lot we can do with the online portion and giving people tools every month. Here, run this drill, do this competition. Here's a fake hunt. Like it's gonna be rad, dude. And
I'm excited for it. I think once we start integrating it into the training, we can send people home with one. They can pick one up.
Dude, yeah.
Run our courses. I mean, I think it's, again, we talk about it. Someone can come to a class and then they don't pick up a rifle for another 6 months. The only time they shoot is with us and maybe one time in between. Like, this is a phenomenal way to keep your training up. So
I've already started updating. If you go on our website, you can download our dry fire playbook for free.
Mm-hmm.
I've already started updating the dry fire playbook so that it co-aligns with LaserHit. So you buy the laser, you purchase the app, you download our book, and you've got drills and drills and drills and drills that you just, that's what people want, right?
Yeah.
They want less thinking and just tell me what to do. All right, I'm gonna tell you what to do. So it's badass, dude. Probably one of the coolest updates that they recently made was no matter what fucking shit you're using, they're about to integrate with Kestrel so that you can populate your rifle from Kestrel onto LaserHit. So you're using your dope, your bullet, everything.
That's bitching.
You can screenshot Ballistics, show it to the program, and now the program has your data and you're using your rifle. I mean, little by little, dog. I'm excited. I don't know why I'm excited for dry fire system, but I think it's cool. So
because it's the boring that makes you good.
Ultimately, it's another tool for me to come home, set it up in your garage, and beat your ass another way.
Yep.
You're a very humble individual. You know that?
there's no place in this world for a fucking ego. There's not.
Anybody else that I know would be like, I'm gonna get you next time. And you're just like,
I'm going to, but I don't need to tell you. I mean, we ran the whole fucking Leo qual and we tied. I'm not going to cry about 3 shots that I missed with a rifle that I shot 10 rounds out of. Like, I'm like, whatever.
Dude, so, moving on to like away from SHOT Show, we were at the range. We did our little distance competition and you got smoked.
Got waxed.
But we did a head-to-head law enforcement target and we tied.
Yeah.
And it's not a dig on me. It's kudos to you, but shit happens, dude. Like I took a shot and I'm like, how the fuck did I miss that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I shot the wrong fucking target. Like,
that's what gave me the win, dude. It gave it to me. And then the best part about it is when we get to the end and you got to do the 100-yard unsupported. That was like the best because we're not shooting at the same time anymore. Now we can sit there and kind of badger each other like, don't fucking miss. Don't mess this up. That was so fun. That was on Law Enforcement Qual Target version 3. So if you go to the website, these are targets that you have to purchase because we print them. They're huge. Every drill you want to run is on one paper. And so I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars for targets and just get them away from them. So you have to buy them. But that was version 3. We just printed and received version 4. Some of the changes for the qual target is it's a 28-inch tall by 14-inch wide target. Got all these drills on it, cold bore, zero check, tripod. I made a lot of the targets smaller. I think some of the tripod stuff was like 2.5 MOA. Everything's 2 MOA now. The gas mask has an area you have to hit in now. Same thing with the hostage rescue when you're doing malfunctions. It's not good enough that you just shoot homeboy in the ear now. You have to hit him in the circle. So yeah, I updated things based off what we learned all of 2024 and 2023 is that we need to push people's standards to be higher. I'm okay with people cleaning that course of fire, but it needs to challenge them. Like this should push people to want to be better. And then you can flip the target over and now you have 7 face targets to run the other Max Ordinate qual and not dirty up one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that you printed at your house with 20 shots. Now you got 7 faces and it's run this drill here, run this drill here. And so you got 2 targets in one, dude.
That's awesome.
Bitching. We got to go back to the range. As soon as I get done here, I got a couple exercises, I don't know what to call them. We call them sustainments, but really we're going out there to try and proof and test out some different ways of doing aerial shooting. Mm-hmm. When I get done with this shit and come back home in April, I'm taking your ass out. We're going to run this new target. And I want redemption on the LE qual.
I mean, so do I. And I really feel like,
not just against you. I just feel shitty that I dropped 3 shots.
I know. And the thing is so do I. Like, I feel every shot that I dropped, every shot I dropped, there was no excuse for him.
No excuse. Yeah.
It was the most comfortable, easy positions that I just set up. And I was like, oh, that just hosed it.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember specifically any of the shots? Because the one that hits me the most is because I'm always preaching and I'm a stickler for recoil management and position and like controlling the muzzle. And we were on that rooftop. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I felt like I had a good position, took the shot, muzzle went up. And then when I get back on target and find where my bullet was, it's not where I thought I was aiming. And it's like, fuck. Yeah. The only thing I could do is chalk it up to like, you had a shitty position. You didn't manage recoil and now lay in your bed, stupid. So,
I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, 2 of them were just bad recoil management. And one of them, to be honest, I know what happened. but there was so much time that I don't know why it happened, but it was just the standing tripod. This simple deployment drill,
Yeah.
which for me is my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I was just like, just muscle it. Like, it was just one of those times where I didn't have natural point of aim. I was just muscling it right, just trying to push it, and missed completely. Like, it wasn't, there was just no excuse for it.
The blooper video of us, it's not really a blooper. We were running the final drill, not the unsupported, but the final paper drill, the tripod deployment.
Yeah.
60 seconds, deploy your tripod. And so, like, the way that I captured the video, we're both in one frame, and you could see us setting up our tripod.
Different.
Completely different. Right now, we have different tripods. You have a 2Vets tripod that is friendlier to quick setup because you've only one leg.
Love it.
I've got 3 leg sections, so I got to go fucking all over the place. So you were much faster getting into position. I caught up to you. I think I shot before you, or we kind of shot near the same time. And then I'm looking, there's a pause. There's like a 3 or 4 second pause where we're both looking, and I'm like, I fucking won. And you're like, what?
Like, no way.
No, I hit the target. I'm like, no, you didn't. You see that little circle in there? And you're like, fuck. That was the shot you needed to beat me.
Yeah.
And so shit like that is fun, dude. I was talking to Bert. We got law enforcement training day coming up. For people who don't know, we have a program where we have taken over departments' training for their snipers, and we provide that structured training. They just show up and run the drills. We track all the data. And so we got one coming up March 6th, and me and Bert are talking about the last one, what we did, and things that we need to continue to work on, and how we're going to develop this next course of fire. And I was like, hey, let's incorporate a barricade shoot where you got 2, 3 barricades, right? You bring the guys up all at the same time. You say, this is the target. Get down behind the barricade. You have 45 seconds. Ready? Go. Everybody gets up. They shoot their target. 45 seconds, you're good. Okay, cool. Get off the line. Next group comes up. Same thing. You run everybody through this. It gives you the illusion that you are competing against everybody else, but you're not. You're competing against yourself and time. Mm-hmm. And so once everybody's got through the 45 seconds, okay, cool. Get back up. Here's your target. You're on a different barricade. Now you have 30 seconds. Ready? Beep. Everybody shoots. Okay. If you made the time, you're over here. If you missed or you didn't make the time, you're out. And you just keep running through this until you reach everybody's limits on accuracy and speed. And you can record that data for each individual person so that you know where that person needs to progress, where this person needs to progress, right? Because you don't want all your training days to just be so generic that certain people elevate and other people are falling behind.
Yeah. And
this is a really cool drill to run with me and you. We just get up there. Like, hey, let's set the timer for a minute. See how fast can we get through this with perfect position, perfect everything. Okay, let's cut that time in half. And then we try it again, and we try it again. And we're pushing our own limits. But at the same time, we kind of have this, like, if you miss or you don't make the time, you know I'm going to talk shit to you.
Oh, for sure.
A little bit of a competition, but ultimately it's training, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to know. You're right. There's days where we'll have a group out, and there's a couple guys that are clearly just ahead of the curve. They're doing really good. Yeah. And then you'll have a guy that maybe is just struggling that day. It's not that he's a bad shooter. He's not picking up those shots at the field course, or he's the guy you're like, oh, fuck, like he's struggling somewhere. Getting a metric for where he's at is kind of cool, right? He's not competing against anybody other than himself. And that gives him a number to shoot for next time.
Well, my opinion also is that if they're not struggling, what are you doing? Like, you just out there to fucking boost people's egos and make them think that they're doing amazing? Or are you out there pushing them to be better? There should be a lot of struggle.
Well, it's like I told the guys at the last class, don't worry. The positions you're going to get in suck in the field course. That's just Tyler.
That's just me, right? And I want it to suck. I want it to be hard because how many times we got to say it, dude? It's never going to change in shooting, in sports, and in life. You are going to learn so much from failing, from struggles, than if you didn't, right? If I never got audited by the IRS for a mileage log, would I have ever fucking done that going forward? Would I have known that that's something that's important? And oh shit, what other things am I not fucking doing right in running a business? Like it's all learning, dude.
Well, maybe that's why there's no common sense. I mean, you think about it. When someone's babied for so long, they're not allowed to make mistakes.
Never saw a fail. That's what it is.
They don't fail, so they don't learn common sense.
They've just been given so much that they haven't gotten those failures.
We look at, this neighborhood, we have a bunch of kids similar age, right? And we're all kind of raising babies together as a neighborhood. Know your neighbors, build a network. And you see the differences in how they raise their kids. Like mine, fall off the couch, bust their legs open, run around, eat dirt. Like they get into shit, they fall, they hurt themselves, they get up. We allow it to happen. And then you see the other side of the parenting, which is they're helicopter parents. They can't fall. These kids cry at every single, they stub a toe, they're mildly inconvenienced, they start crying. And and not that they're bad parents, this is how they're choosing to parent. And
True.
You start looking at the differences, you're like, that's so black and white. Like these kids are learning lessons. These ones aren't.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. And, when I was active duty, I showed up to this unit and I get there and it's just, I'm a young Marine. We're like 4 weeks away from going to fucking Iraq. And I remember, I'll never forget this. Like there was just some shitty parts. It was like we had to wake up in the morning at stupid fucking early and all go to breakfast together. Like our platoon sergeant was building a brotherhood, right? And in doing that, he was forcing us to band together and love each other because we all had a common hate of him. And we hated him because he would always say this, I'm going to give you what you need and not what you want. And it's like, fuck. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be pushed this hard right now. But
that's like any boot camp, any, law enforcement, police academy.
But it's like the same as being a parent, right? Like,
yeah,
there are things that you need to provide for your kid. And then there are things that they want. And it's like, no, fuck you. I'm going to let you struggle through this. And you're right. It probably doesn't happen the same way because society has shifted, but it's going to go back. It always repeats itself, right? Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. I mean, it's just going to keep cycling through that. And so
I tell my kids all the time, I literally, the twins will be fighting and they'll be kicking and screaming and everyone's yelling at each other. I'm like, look, you guys are supposed to hate me, not each other.
Yeah.
You guys are supposed to, I set things up to piss them off so they'll come together and mutually hate me instead of each other. Like, that's how they grow.
Yes. And for any parents that are listening, like, fuck, I don't want my kids to hate me.
Oh no, I'm not their friend. I'm not their contemporary. I'll be friends when they're 18.
Exactly. That's the point. Right. 100%. And that's as that young Marine, I fucking hated that guy. I hated everything about it. I was like, fuck, he's so fucking hard. Like, he just, God damn. Like, and I've been pushed hard in my life, dude. I was a wrestler. I was an athlete. Like, I'm not new to it, but just the next level shit that he was doing. It's like, fuck this guy. But then when you go to war, you come back, you survived, and you survived because of what he made you do.
Mm-hmm.
And 10 years pass. He's not your platoon sergeant anymore. You've grown. You're in a leadership billet, or you get out. Like I got out, and I saw him one day, and I'm like, the instant feelings that I had when I saw him was not hate. It was, I will love you forever because of what you did to me. And that is the same thing as a parent. Too many parents are concerned with, I want my child to like me. No, your child will love you later when they realize that you did all of these things and they are now successful or prepared for shitty ass life because of the hardships in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, and I like our rule is really like, we're not going to, like, not to go off on a tangent here on parenting, but like, we definitely aren't the whole hard ass create fucking trauma type parents, right? But I'm going to raise kids that I want to be friends with when they're 18, right? I'm not going to raise kids and be their friend now because I'm not going to like who they are when they're adults. So we've just sort of like, again, we're creating kids with common sense, with values, with morals, by letting them not have it so fucking easy. You know, like literally one of our daughters came in and was asking about, it was a money conversation. And literally said, I don't understand how money works, because all her friends have all these things and all her friends have all these things that she wants and she doesn't have them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Because you don't have money.
Yeah.
You're broke.
Dude, when you were like, previous podcast, this might have been last year, dude. We were talking about like being prepared. What's your home readiness plan? And just a moment ago, you're like, yeah, like I'm not their friend. I'm going to walk around the house and yell, gas, gas, gas. And they got 20 seconds to grab their fucking gas mask and put that bitch on. Like,
exactly.
So common sense, not so common. We were kind of joking about like Diaz and a little snafu that he had, which we'll get to. But the real thing that drove me to this topic was it happened around early February. It came across the team chat. It was, hey, Tyler, can you, for high angle, correct the dope instead of the distance? Now, this was put out there by, did you see the screenshot I sent you? Did you figure out how to say his last name? I still can't figure it out. It's like Ryan D'Agostino.
Yes.
He used to work for Modern Day Sniper. He was an instructor. He got let go or he left, or I don't know the whole fucking story. It doesn't matter to me. And so now, anyway, he is working for Knight's Armament and he's still putting out videos and content. His background, he was a pig in a sniper platoon. Not saying he's not a good shooter, not saying he's not a good competitor, but like common sense. When I was in the sniper platoon, I had asked this question before. Hey, when we're shooting high angle, because I went to mountain sniper and I was learning how to correct for angles. I didn't ask the question at school. I ended up coming back to the platoon and I had this epiphany like, well, couldn't I just take my dope and apply the cosine to my dope? And I got told by somebody who's more experienced than me that, yeah, I can do that. That's fine. Okay. So for a while, I believed that. Now, I never came into a situation where I had to use this information. So it was kind of just like something that was there, but I didn't use it. So I never had a chance to fail. Now, fast forward, I'm a civilian, and now I'm more thoughtful. And everything that I say or I do or I put out there, you got to be able to prove it, right? Like, shouldn't that be the mindset? Is that before you just spew bullshit? Anytime you put something online, do you not have the potential for somebody to call you out?
Yeah, and it literally, when you showed me that, it short circuited my brain. Like
I know.
I couldn't wrap my head around it. I wish we were recording.
And so, like, if you're going to put shit out on the internet, well, then you better be prepared to defend it or know what the fuck you're talking about. And so, like, the question comes across the team chat, can you put a cosine on a dope and not the distance and achieve the same thing? The answer is fuck no, you cannot do that, right? Can't do that. There is a difference. Distance is a linear measurement. Your dope is not a linear measurement. Your dope is accounting for distance, gravity, and loss of velocity.
Which is exponential.
Yes. So you cannot apply a cosine for high angle shooting to your fucking dope. It doesn't work that way. And so I put something together for you. And I got your message here. I know we're at the hour mark. I can see 1 hour, 54 seconds. We're going to get through this.
So I'm going to go 2.3 left.
So I'm going to throw this up here, replace this with the quick presentation that I made for you, right? I told you, you're going to learn some shit, right?
I mean, I only know one way to do these. So if I can learn something, a way to do them different, then awesome.
And so, like, when I was asking you this, you're like, the first question I asked you was, yo, tell me how you correct for angle. And you're like, well, I fucking multiply by the cosine. I'm like, give me the specifics, Jeph. Tell me how you do this. And you're like, well, I range the target. I multiply by cosine. That tells me what the correct distance is. And that is how you do it, right? And so high angle, the example is the distance is 547 yards, standard atmospheric conditions, which is 59 degrees, 29.92 barometric pressure, 70 degrees humidity or 70% humidity. The angle to the target is 28 degrees. This is our scenario. So we're just going to round that up to 30 degrees, which would be a 0.87 cosine, right? That's the scenario. So when you look at 547 yards, your line of sight distance from you to the target, your dope is 4.2 mils or 14.25 MOA. You take that number and you multiply by your cosine, the distance, not the dope, the distance. It gives you 476 yards flat distance, which when you're shooting high angle, you are calculating what is from point A to point B on a flat plane.
Mm-hmm.
What is that distance? Because that's what you're dialing for. And so your dope for 476 using a 308, this is a 308 gun. Your dope is 3.2 mils or 11.25 MOA, right? That is the correct way to do high angle.
Like it's one calculation.
It's one calculation. Multiply distance by cosine to get field distance.
Yeah.
That's it. And so what Ryan put out there and what caused this entire conversation on the team chat was he called it the improved rifleman. So I just added BS because it's bullshit. 547 yards, your dope is 4.2 mils. If you multiply 4.2 by the cosine, it gives you 3.7. But we already know that for the actual high angle range to be corrected, it should be 476 yards, which is 3.2 mils. So when you multiply the dope by the cosine, in this particular situation, you are already wrong by 0.5 mil. You are going to overshoot your target by 0.5 mils or 1.25 MOA. And so that's what I was wanting to bring up to you. That's what sparked this whole thing, is like common sense. Not that you're stupid, this guy's stupid because he doesn't know. Isn't common sense to research what the fuck you're talking about to make sure that you can't get called the fuck out for being stupid? Like, isn't that a concern? Like, social media has been around for how long that people are just waiting to jump out there and say, you're fucking stupid. You should have researched this. I mean, we're doing it right now, obviously. Yeah. And so that's really the whole common sense thing. It's like common sense would say, I think this makes sense, but I should try it, right? All I need to do is what we just did. The traditional formula, the improved rifleman formula. Oh shit, they don't line up.
Yeah.
This must not be right. Why is that not right? And then it's one of those rabbit holes. You start jumping down this rabbit hole, and as an instructor, which he is claiming to be, you're learning. You're not putting bullshit out there. And so what do you think, dude? Common sense, not really common?
Yeah, and I don't know him.
I don't either. I've never met him.
But I'm always very apprehensive about what I even put out on social media as a self-proclaimed expert for just that reason, right? We've all been doing this
Volume.
Oh, I think my mic was down. How's that?
Yeah, better, way better.
So I think we've all been doing this long enough to where we know what we know, and I think a lot of we know what we don't know sometimes too. But I'm very apprehensive about putting stuff out as a self-proclaimed expert, because there's too many people that can call bullshit in a matter of seconds. So why not just take some time to stop and think before you put something out? That's all.
Is it laziness?
No. Okay. So you want to know what I think it is personally? I don't think it's laziness. I think lots of people are willing to go out and test their theories. I think it's ego, and it's, let me just throw something out that I know that you don't before I check it.
Yeah.
And that's human nature, wanting to know something that somebody else doesn't. Like, I don't want to know shit. I want everybody around me to know more than I do.
I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, as you grow as a industry trusted individual who is passing knowledge, what should be growing is that your ability to formulate an idea or a thought and then test it.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm saying correct? Right now, I've been trained in high angle shooting. I've had misconceptions about it. I've been given wrong information, and I have corrected my own path. I have done my own research. I have read books. I have done calculations. We come up with our own high angle fucking rule of 15.
Yeah.
And I've even found the limits to it. Like, okay, look, you can use this simplified method of calculating angles, but it has limits. And you need to know that it is not precise. It has a margin of error for 1% to 2%. Now, is that a big deal? I guess distance and target size will determine that, right?
Yep.
But there are no, hey, guys, I came up with this new formula and it's fucking perfect in every way. No. I wanted an easier method for people to calculate it, but I knew that I needed to know what the limitations were myself.
Yeah.
And so I had to spend hours going through all these different calculations, different math of, is this acceptable? Yeah, that's acceptable. That's 1% wrong. It's fine. This is 2% wrong. That's fine. At what point is it not fine? Well, I'll tell you what, 3% at 1,200 yards is not fine. But 3% at 150 is doable, right? So
unless it's a 1-inch target. Right?
It's
size of target matters also.
I mean, so you deal with that, right? Where as you're growing, you're learning, and the information you want to put out there is better. I did a high angle video. There was nothing wrong with this video, Jeph. This was years ago. At this point right now, this was 10 years ago, 2015. And I put this video out on YouTube, and I got a button-up shirt on. I'm drawing on a whiteboard, and I'm running people through how to calculate angles. Everything I said was correct. But do you know the way that I drew it on the board was shooters up here, right? Here, can you see my hand? Shooters up here, and you're shooting here. And I said the angle.
No, it's the angle.
Correct. And I got extremely educated by very smart mathematicians.
I bet.
Onto my YouTube feed that my math is correct, but the way that I'm drawing the diagram is not right.
Your math and diagram would be correct if it was 45-degree angle.
And so like where the angle comes from.
Yeah.
That's where they were busting my balls. I didn't know that. Everything I was putting out there was right. There was no wrong math, but where I was showing the angle coming from was not mathematically correct. And so I'm like on there trying to like, okay, like, got it. You guys are right. But for the purpose of people understanding, did you understand it? Okay, cool. I learned, you learned. Let's move the fuck on. I did not take that video down. It's still up.
And for people asking, the angle is based off the angle of the horizon, which would be your 0.
Correct.
So,
not the vertical angle.
Not the vertical angle, correct.
Which is where my diagram was wrong. And I'm like, fuck, dude, my bad. Lesson learned, right? Not only did I get a lesson in being called out and educated online in front of everybody, but I fucking learned that it's the horizontal line, not the vertical line, to further my educational abilities with other people, right? But up until that point, I had done a lot of research on the mathematical side to make sure I wasn't telling people you can cosine the dope. Like, I had learned that that was fucking wrong, right? What I overlooked was the horizon line. And
now let me ask you this, trying to give him some grace.
Yeah.
With a margin of error, does that work within some reason?
I mean, we just did the math for 547 yards and he was off by half a mil. So if you're shooting full-size dipsticks, you're fine. If you're shooting 2 MOA targets, you're not fine. You're
inside of 300. Like, I'm just, that's when I'm trying to, because I haven't done it for inside of 300 yards.
I know that you are a minutes of angle man and you are becoming more and more in tune with mils. So I want you to think about it like this. Every 0.3 mils is 1 MOA.
Mm-hmm.
And so if his calculation is half a mil off, that's a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a 7-inch difference at 500 yards, right? Yeah. And so now if we do the math for fucking 300 and we could just role play this right now. You said inside 300?
Yeah.
Okay, so inside 300, you want to do 275?
Sure.
Okay, 275. The dope for my 308 is 1.1. All right. Now, if we do the math, let's see, 275 times 0.87 30-degree angle, that puts us at 240. All right. If I cosine the dope 1.1, I need, based off the math, I need 1.0 for corrected distance. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if I go in and I type in the corrected distance into my calculator, my dope is 0.8. So at 275 yards, he's off by 0.2. Still shooting high.
Still shooting high.
Is he going to hit the target? I mean, if it's a 2 MOA target, yeah, he's going to hit at the top, but he's still wrong.
So what was the uncorrected dope?
1.1. The corrected dope is 0.8.
So, I mean, you might as well just not even do any fucking math. You're just as far off.
I mean, if you cosine the dope, you only subtracted 0.1 mil. It's still wrong, right? Yeah. So could you use this? Maybe inside 200, I'm sure the fucking results are negligible.
Yeah.
Less angle,
probably.
less less problems, right? But the steeper the angle, the worse it's going to get, right? And for me, it's just too wrong, right? I look at percentages, and 0.8 to 1 mil, that's a 20% difference right there, right?
Yeah.
And that's just too much for me. It's not enough. Like I said, when we were developing the Max Ordinate rule of 15, dude, I was so worried that I was going to be wrong, or that this formula would start to degrade, that I was going through every angle, and I was doing distances 300, 500, 700, 1,000. What is fucking 15%, 25%, 35%? When does it start to fail? And it was excruciating to go through all of that, because I just didn't want to be wrong. I didn't want to put something out there that was bullshit.
You have to test, validate. Like, you can't just throw a cool formula that you sort of figured out and think works and then just put it out to everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
So I found the limits, and we teach the limits. We teach where it's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the rule of 15?
No, I fucking do the cosine math. It's one calculation.
So let me ask you this, right? Because when I talk to people and they're like, oh, fucking cosine, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah.
But I don't have to think, because I have a cosine indicator on my rifle. Like, I don't even have to think about what it is.
Okay, but you still got to calculate shit, right?
Yeah, okay, fair. But I just...
Okay.
Yeah,
so
right.
The rule of 15 is just designed to simplify it for you, right? So you got a cosine indicator on your rifle,
mm-hmm.
and I've got a fucking level on my phone.
Yeah, same shit.
You point at the target, your cosine indicator says 0.87.
Mm-hmm.
My phone says 30 degrees. Tracking?
Yeah.
So for you, you're going to take your distance and you're going to multiply by the cosine. Anytime you multiply a whole number by a decimal number, you're essentially doing what? You're asking for a percentage of that whole number.
Yeah.
So when you multiply by 0.87, the answer you're looking for is, what's 87% of X?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I know that the angle to the target is 30 degrees. The reason we call it the rule of 15 is subtract 15 from your angle. What's 30 minus 15?
15.
15.
Why'd that take me so long?
15, right? So what do I do with that number? 15% off of my range. So if my range is 500, 10% is 50. Another 5% is 25. You add those together, we're at 75 yards. So a 500-yard line of sight with a 30-degree angle is a 425-yard
or 25
flat shot, right? Now, if we do the math for your cosine, and I'm going to do the actual math, 500 times 0.87, which I did 15%, which would be 0.85.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing 13%. Your flat line distance is 435. 10 yards off.
Negligible.
It's a 1/10 of a mil. And I'm okay with that margin of error.
Yeah.
And so this works all the way out, because I'm not cosigning a exponential number.
Well, it makes you so you don't have to do a calculation, right? You're just subtracting.
Rounding our cosines to the nearest number.
You're still doing a calculation, but it's an easier calculation.
It's easier, and I'm just thinking of a cosine as a percentage. That's it.
That's fair.
And so
you're subtracting instead of multiplying.
There you go.
That's all it is. And
so I've just tried to make this easier, and you know what? It fucking works, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Numbers work. I've done it in real world at our range. The numbers work. Now, where does it fail? Because this is what I said. At what point is your margin of error too great? And so anything beyond 65 degrees, it doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
Because it's kind of the same thing. You can't really treat your cosines linear, right? And because of that, you start to crunch numbers past 65 degrees and your margin of error is getting,
it's just too big.
It's too big, right? You're now on the fringe of, am I going to hit? Am I going to miss? You might as well just do the actual calculation.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is like, okay, the rule of 15 says subtract 15 from your angled degrees. If you got a 12-degree angle and the rule says subtract 15, basically zero, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to understand that inside 500, inside 600, 15 degrees or less is nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah.
But at 1,200 yards, a 10-degree angle is a big fucking deal because your trajectory looks like this now.
Yeah.
And so it's all part of that understanding trajectory. What are the limitations on both sides of something that we're going to release to the public? So that was my common sense moment. And I know.
And it's funny you say that, and this is sort of off topic, but I don't think enough people really take that into consideration when they're going to their local flat range and there's a 1,000-yard target up on the hill, and that 1,000-yard target
is sitting 5 degrees up.
Or 10 or 20, right? It's up on the top of the mountain.
That's a 2% difference in terms of distance. Fucking, you look at the cosine for 10 degrees, Jeph. It's, I believe, if I'm going to reference it, make sure I'm not spitting bullshit here, but I believe it's 0.98. And so 0.96, that's 4%. What's 4% of 1,000? I mean, 10% would be 100. 4% is 40 yards.
Yeah.
So you got a 10-degree angle at 1,000. That's a 40-yard difference flat line. And you're like, oh, my fucking dope ain't lining up. Nah, bitch, you didn't do the math.
100%.
Right? And so all kinds of shit, dude. I love this shit. I don't know why I'm such a fucking geek, but anyways, not trying to keep dragging this on. You know, it's not Joe Rogan podcast. We don't have thousands of people watching us for 4 hours.
4 fucking hours.
But
well, we're going to connect in a couple days, right? Because we're we are
dragging out. Get back to our weekly episodes now that things have kind of settled down. The final thing was we were busting Diaz's balls a little bit because our training facility is not the easiest thing to find.
No, it's not.
We're out in the high desert. It's dirt roads everywhere. There's no road signs, and a lot of the roads aren't named. And so I have petitioned Google, hey, we fucking live here. They don't care. Hey, County of San Bernardino, I need an address. Okay, here it is. And then they put us 5 miles away on the wrong fucking side of the highway. It's like, what are we doing? Like, okay, cool. You gave me an address right next to this guy, and Google doesn't know what the fuck to do with this. And so we have an email. You sign up for a course. You get an email that says, follow these instructions. Use Google Maps. Here is the latitude, longitude. By the way, Google is going to tell you you have to park here and walk 500 yards. You don't have to park there. I need you to zoom in on the map, look at the dirt roads, and navigate 2 turns to our facility.
It's the open desert. Just
open desert.
Pick a road and go.
And yet we still have students getting lost. And so yesterday, a guy called me, and I spent 47 minutes figuring out where he is and then step-by-step directions until he was at our gate.
And you're in Japan.
And I'm in Japan, yeah. And so, like, this morning, PR1, 3 students are lost. And unfortunately, right now, the company phone number rings to me. And now I fucked up because the email that went out to everybody, I mistyped one digit on Diaz's phone. And so they could call him, but they're not going to get him. So they're calling me and I'm fucking asleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting all these phone calls that I'm not hearing. 3 students are lost, can't find the place. And Diaz is like, hey, 3 people aren't here. I can't find their phone numbers. And I'm like, I'm reading this when I wake up. I'm like, fuck, man. So I sent him a roster of everybody's information. I'm looking at it online. I'm like, the phone numbers are right fucking there. And you're like, well, maybe it was his phone. He said the format was weird. So I pull it up on my phone. I'm like, Microsoft Excel, which we pay for everybody in the company to have access to Microsoft products.
And it looks a little weird on the phone.
It looks a little weird. Like it's got like a digit and then an exponent plus number, you know? I'm like, yeah, expand. Oh, fuck, look at all those phone numbers right there, dude. Like, and so I'm sitting there thinking, like, do we need to send Diaz to Microsoft School?
No, but maybe we can just tell him he's a millennial.
Is millennial. And so the learning lesson here, which I still haven't figured out the direction that we go, is do I put this in my brain and say, going forward, I know that for certain technology things, I need to dumb it down in the easiest possible way.
Well, no, okay. So look,
we demand that he learns.
Well, how do we learn? We just talked about this. He's never going to not know how to do that now. So we're good.
We're hoping that he learned from this, right?
I've got faith in him.
Yeah, maybe. But no, he's a good dude. The technology stuff always seems to find a way to mess with him. Always. Tyler, I cannot find this thing on Teams. Nick, I tagged you on it. Where did you tag me? In the chat. Where's the chat? What do you mean, where's the chat? Can't we just go back to like paper messages? Can you just send me a paper message, Tyler?
Just send me an email. It's so much easier.
Emails get lost, dude. I don't know. Like,
I know.
I think a lot of this technology stuff, it can be super, super beneficial as long as one, everybody's on the same page. But the difference is we're all spread out. It's not like we meet up at the office every day and we show each other different things that we've learned. I learned something and then I just start using it. And then you're like, where the fuck is this? I'm like, it's here. Like, how did you not learn how to do this yet, Jeph, you dumbass? And you're like,
and we all like are trying to talk to each other essentially via text message, you know, to try to teach each other shit. So it gets tough, but we figure it out.
Yeah. And so last thing, it was kind of the funniest comment is like when I initially got on the phone with this guy, he's like, hey, I'm in Lucerne and I'm on Banter Road and I'm trying to find you guys. And then I'm like, it's Friday. It's Friday in the States. What are you looking for us for? And he's like, well, I'm in tomorrow's class. I'm like, well, it's not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, fucker. What are you doing?
He's like, I'm just trying to do my recon. I wanted to find the place so I don't get lost. I'm like, okay.
All right.
And so
Roger.
Before I go, I'm not going to go through the whole 47-minute conversation, but at a certain point, I was like, did you get the email? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. There's a latitude and longitude in there. And it said, use Google Maps and copy paste lat long into Google Maps. It'll bring you right here. Well, I am not a military guy. I don't know how to do that. I'm like, copy, paste. There's nothing military about it. We don't use lat long in the military, but okay, got it. Did you see the map? He's like, yep, I saw the map. And my GPS didn't take me anywhere close to what your map looks like. I'm like, and you're on Google Maps. He's like, do you want me to download it? I'm like, well, what the fuck are you using? He's like, my car GPS. I'm like,
Oh, Tom.
Problem identified. Anything outside of like regularly updated apps, like a car GPS, is just going to make things worse.
Yeah, I'm like, don't use fucking Waze either. Waze ain't gonna get you there.
So long conversation with this dude. I'm not mad at him. He's not mad at me. There was a little frustration in the beginning, but I want him to do well this weekend, and I hope he has a good time. And so he's talking, and he's like, it'd be really helpful if you like drew a map. And I'm like, okay. Did you see that document I threw into the group chat?
It's exactly what I was going to post in the group chat.
It is like step by step. Like, here's a map, Chip. Turn here. Hey, by the way, you're going to see a tire. And you're going to turn left at that tire. Like, if that doesn't work, dude, the only thing I can think of is like you, Diaz, or Helbert, somebody going out to every intersection and taking a photo and like embedding an arrow on what they're supposed to do when they see this. That's the next step. If we get more people lost, we have to go there.
We're gonna have to do it.
Yeah. So
I'm down.
All right, brother. Hey, it's 91 minutes of me and you just bullshitting, talking, and spitting some cool information while talking shit about different things and just reliving January 2025. I'm glad that we got to get back on this and just get back into the groove, man. I really enjoy doing these podcasts with you, no matter how many fucking people watch it, listen, or whatever. But I know that people do. I run into people all the time that are like, I listen to your podcast. And sometimes it's a little awkward because I don't know what they want me to say. Like, Tyler, we never met, but I listened to the podcast. And I'm like, awesome. I appreciate you. And then there's this awkward, like, we're staring at each other. I'm like, so do you want to be friends? Like, is there more to this? Nope. I just wanted to say I listened to your podcast. I'm like, fuck awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, like, I'm just going to start carrying stickers around. So anybody that does approach me, I'd be like, here's a fucking podcast sticker or something. Like, I don't know.
Made.
We should.
Yes, we should.
We might. We'll do the logo right there on the screen. The Precision Rifle Podcast with Tyler and Jeph. Stickers are, I'm do it right now. Do it right now.
Perfect.
All right, brother. Final thing. I mean, it's kind of an admin note just for me and you, but if you go onto Teams under Max Ordinate files, there is a marketing logo folder, and there's an SR Global folder in there.
Oh, nice.
I made that sticker that I promised you last year. All right, dude. A couple days, we'll catch back up and we'll hit this again. I appreciate your time, dude. I'll catch up with you later.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk soon.
See ya.